everybody, to episode number 26 of the Pound for Pound Show. My name is Philip, and joining me as always are Russ and Ben. How are you gentlemen enjoying the heat?
Great. Glad to be back.
Great. Yeah, glad to be back. You can see I got sunburn here, Phil.
There it is. I like it. It means you've been outdoors putting in the work.
Walking the dog, playing some tennis, you know.
There you go.
Real
Playing
sunburn.
some tennis. What is that?
Oh, I'm a big tennis player now, man.
I was unaware of that. This is a new development.
Yeah.
Tennis players are dropping out of tournaments like crazy lately. You might be able to jam in there, get in the world rankings.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the ranked players are bailing on tennis now.
Those guys are at a little bit different level, I think.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's got to be close. You close that gap, you keep putting in the work, getting in the time. But enough about your tennis career. We've got some huge fights to talk about. We got the big UFC 263 coming up this weekend, so very exciting. We got two rematches in title fights that both could be real exciting, and then we've got our first ever 5-round non-title fight, non-main event that almost guarantees to be an exciting fight. So without further ado, let's get into those. So we'll start with the main event, the big middleweight title clash between Izzy and Marvin Vettori. So I'll throw it to Russ, you first, and then over to Ben to give us some thoughts on what you guys expect to see from that fight.
I expect a close fight. It's a tough fight for me to call on this one because, you know, that the first fight was very close and this one's a little bit different. You know, Adesanya's obviously fought way better competition and gotten better, but Vettori's gotten better as well. And he's on the 5-fight win streak. So it's kind of a tricky one to call, especially because we've seen Adesanya lose last time. You know, his first MMA loss, confidence could be a little bit different. I'm not 100% sold on Adesanya destroying him, but I'm leaning toward him getting the finish. You know, I can't see Vettori stopping him. I think the only way he could win is if he is able to like take him down and just grind him for round after round like he did to Holland. But Adesanya is so much better than Holland. I just can't see that. I hope he comes out there just hungry and wants to, you know, right the ship, you know, start destroying dudes again. So that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe a second or third round KO. That's the pick.
I agree with a lot of your points, Russ. I think Izzy's going to come in like a lot hungrier than he was in the Jan fight. He's going to be very mad about that loss, but I do think Izzy's it's going to go the same way as the first fight. Well, not as close. I'm saying it's not going to go as close. Izzy's like the level of competition that Izzy's fought has been so much superior than Vettori. Vettori's last 2 wins have been Jack Hermanson and Kevin Holland. And Izzy's gone through Robert Whitaker, Gastelum, Yoel Romero,
Costa.
Yeah, Izzy's just fought so much better competition. Yeah, he had that Jan fight, which is great experience. Yeah, I think Izzy takes it to him and gets the finish. I'm gonna say, like you said, I'm gonna say the third round. Izzy gets the finish. Phil, what do you think?
And stuff. Yeah, I think you guys made some good points. I think it's a pretty tough fight to pick. Like there's a lot of unpredictability. You know, like you said, it's you don't want to read too much into it, but like how does that first loss impact Israel? Does he come out with the same type of swagger he had in those other fights? Especially knowing how close it was with Vettori the first time. You know, does he come out the same guy or does he look a little bit different? And again, Vettori is, you know, he has fought some pretty decent guys. Again, not the level that he has, but Hermanson beat Gastelum. So, you know, some of the guys that he's beat, you know, he hasn't been beating jabronis for sure. So I expect it to be a real close fight. And I think it's really going to depend on how Vettori can control the cage, because I think that he's really going to watch that Jan fight. And obviously he's not as big as Jan, but Jan had a ton of success with that game plan. So I expect to be close. I'm obviously hoping for Vettori to pull it out. But I don't know that he does. I think Izzy's going to win, but I think it's going to be a decision. I think Vettori's going to close the distance a lot and not get smashed on, unless he tries to make it that you like that fight with Hermanson where they just go to war, which would obviously be great because that like the fans would win then regardless of who wins. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think Adesanya is going to pull out a close decision.
And also the bad blood makes it real fun. You know what I'm saying? There's some real bad blood there.
I think something that might help Izzy a little bit as well is that it's away from the apex where he fought Jan. You know, he's not going to be in that small octagon. He'll actually be in a full-sized octagon. That'll help him, like, you know, use his range and hopefully stay off the cage and not get taken down. That's good. That's what I'm hoping, because that's Vettori's big shot is, you know, take him down and do some work He
And
seems to be using his wrestling more and more each fight.
Yeah, so I think it'll be an interesting one. But yeah, I think it, like Russ said, I think it really comes down to how well Vettori can control with his wrestling, because he's been using it more and more. And I'm sure Izzy spent a lot of time in camp, because I'm sure he learned from that fight with Jan, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be stuck in that position again, because it seems like if you're a good wrestler and you can get him on the ground, it could be a long and potentially boring night.
that's true. Very true.
So we'll have to see.
Yep.
So, well, on to the second title fight that we almost know for a fact will not be a boring fight. Is we've got the rematch of Figgy and Moreno, which the first fight exceeded everyone's expectations, and really it was so good it like breathed new life into a division that people wanted to see go away.
Yeah.
And now it's like people can't get enough. So that's how great that fight was. So Ben, I'll let you comment first, and then over to Russ to give us some feedback on what you guys think we're going to see in that one.
Yeah, I'm so hyped for that fight. That like the first one was such a banger. Fight of the year in some people's eyes. Best fight in the flyweight division history, and it ended in a draw. They went back and forth for 5 rounds, and pretty close fight. It's so hard to predict how this one goes, because the first one was pretty much even. So who knows how this one's going to go? It depends on who's I guess improved more, who's just like who's trained harder this camp, who's had a better camp and all that. I mean, there are some factors that go into it, but it's hard. It's a hard one to call. I don't know. Figgy's been so impressive in his previous like four fights or so that I have to pick Figgy. I'm going to pick Figgy by I'm going to say it's another great fight back and forth. I'm going to pick Figgy by decision. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, it's another, it is tough because that first fight was so freaking good, but this is a full camp fight, for both of them. Like the last one was so strange because like they both came off 3 weeks. Like I don't think we've ever seen a title fight, materialize that quickly like it did with the both dudes fighting like 3 weeks prior. Yeah. I think that helps Figgy just because he's just so violent. I think he's gonna stop him this time. I think, wow, he's going to be more prepared. Plus, there's a little bit of bad blood now. He seems to not like Moreno because Moreno's talked a little bit of crap.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he seemed like a little like agitated, like in the countdown, and he said he's going to stop him this time.
Oh, man.
I believe him because he is a violent human.
He is, man.
I think it's going to be. I'll pick Figgy by 3rd round stoppage.
Okay.
But I hope it's another 5-round war. I'm rooting for Moreno. Just to put that out there. I love Moreno.
Same.
Yeah, cool guys. And I know it probably shouldn't translate over, but I remember what happened the last time there was some controversy in a Figgy fight, what he did in the rematch. And Benavidez is, probably, 6 feet under right now. So
that was scary, man.
Yeah, I fear for how he's going to come out against Brandon Moreno. So yeah, again, no disrespect to Moreno. I think he's awesome. But I just think Figgy is just going to bring it, and he's probably going to end up getting a stoppage at some point, I would say. He's just going to land some serious punches. I don't know why. I just have a strange suspicion he's going to get him out of there fairly early. I think he's going to get a second round TKO. I think he's just going to come out and he's just going to go just bring it right away and try to make it a short. Because I'm sure he wants to draw a very definitive line in the sand after that first fight that he's the best 125er in the world.
That's a great point about the controversy too, because there was a little bit of controversy this time too, because they deducted the point for the nut shot, and he feels like they only deducted that point because he says Moreno sold it, which that's not true. I mean, it was a violent nut shot, like
for sure. But
props to Moreno for continuing, but
regardless of whatever the reason, I remember last time he seemed annoyed, and I legitimately felt bad for what he did to Benavidez. So,
oh my God, yeah.
If that Figueiredo shows up, like I don't like anyone's chances at 125 if they have to get in there with that guy. So,
I've heard like multiple people's opinions, and it seems like people are sleeping on Moreno. I don't think that's a good idea.
I mean, in fairness, he kind of they must not have watched the first fight, but again, I'll be honest, I didn't give him much of a chance in that first fight.
I didn't either.
Like, after seeing what Figueiredo was doing to people, I was like, he's going to kill this kid. I was like,
same.
This guy is good, but like, he's going to, especially on like short notice. But yeah, like it's, I can see where people are coming from that, Moreno fought like the absolute best fight of his life that night. and that, Figgy's been doing it consistently for some time now. So
Yes, yeah, he has.
like I understand why, but yeah, if they're sleeping on Moreno, they're fools.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
No,
because,
he's
he
gonna bring
obviously
it, man.
proved in
He's
the
gonna
last
bring it.
fight, yeah, that
You can't lose with this title fight. Like you got
Yeah.
the most violent flyweight in history against like one of the most likable. So it's like,
yeah,
Yep.
most likable, and a dude that absolutely Figueroa is going to have to kill him if he wants to stop him, and he just might.
Yep.
So,
right.
yeah,
Yep.
like it definitely has the idea to entertain. Like I have no doubts, and I also think that the third fight is Leon and Nate Diaz. I don't see any way that fight isn't as if not more entertaining. Like that fight should be absolutely
That's a
off
fun
the
one.
charts. Yeah,
Third title fight on the card.
yeah, 5 rounds. Even though it's a non-title fight, should be pretty exciting. So Russ, how do you see that one breaking down?
I think it helps Nate very much that he's negotiated into 5 rounds because the Diaz bros have unquestionable cardio. It just goes on for days and they get stronger as the fight goes. They never fade and they put such pressure on dudes that it seems like even dudes with great conditioning do fade. So I think he's going to apply that pressure for 5 rounds and eventually break Leon down. I'm picking Nate Diaz in that fight. I'm so excited for his return. And Leon, we've only seen 1 round in 2 years. So you don't have a lot to base it on. You know what I mean? That 1 round did look good, but Nate Diaz is one of my favorite fighters of all time. So I'm picking him regardless, but I legitimately do think he can win this fight. And I think the odds are insane. Plus 400 on
Really?
Nate Diaz. Yeah.
Wow.
Plus 400.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted he got picked apart pretty bad in the BMF title fight by Masvidal, but I think Masvidal is a better striker than Leon, in my opinion. I don't know. I've heard some people say they think Leon's a better striker, but I don't see it. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Leon's a better striker. Technically, I think Masvidal has the power though, the power edge. But yeah, it should be if they stand toe to toe and but just box the whole time, which very easily could happen. That's Nate's best chance of winning, I think. He's got great boxing, and Leon likes to implement that wrestling. Leon's got some wrestling too for being such a good striker. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to implement that, and I think Leon gets the victory. And I think I think he's going to get the better of him on the feet too. Leon is like, even though he's only fought once in the past 2 years, he's like fully in the game. He has a goal, and that's to get that gold. Whereas Nate, I don't know if he's as driven as Leon. You know what I mean? Like Nate's kind of in it for the money at this point in his career. He doesn't seem like he wants any belts or anything like that. That's all fine and dandy, but like, is it going to affect
fighting Nate Diaz is the belt?
Well, a lot of people would disagree, including me. No, but I got Leon win, and I think he's gonna. Honestly, I think, in my opinion, Nate's a bit overrated as a fighter, and I think Leon's gonna mess him up. And I'm gonna pick Leon by 4th round stoppage. Phil?
Very interesting. It's a lot of interesting things in this fight because I think you guys made some good points. And again, word for word, you said what I was going to say about Leon maybe being a better technical striker than Masvidal, but doesn't hit as hard. I think we go back to what you said about the first fight, though, is like Leon is to some degree an unproven commodity at this level. Like Leon has looked great, but he hasn't beat real top guys. And I think it is a bit of a step up. And I think it's, who's going to be better on their feet? Will Leon be better technically, but then start to slow down as the fight goes on and Nate take over just with that pressure?
Yeah.
If it goes to the ground with Leon's wrestling, Nate has fantastic jujitsu, as everybody knows. What does that look like? So I think this fight is really intriguing anywhere it goes. And again, I see your point, Ben, but I think a lot of people felt that way about Nate before the Anthony Pettis fight. He hadn't fought in 3 years.
That's true.
And nobody, everybody expected him to just come in off the couch with Cheeto dust on his cheeks and whatever. Yeah. And he ripped Pettis a new one. So, I think Nate's just a different cat. He's motivated by different things. And, I think if he's showing up to fight, he's going to be motivated and he's going to be in there. And I expect it to be a really good fight. I truthfully won't be surprised if it goes either way, but I'm just slightly leaning towards Nate just because I think his experience and his experience against top level competition. And I think Nate knows if he wins this fight, he can pretty much pick his next opponent. and he'll get whether he wants a title, whether he wants that third fight with McGregor, pretty much no matter what he wants, he'll get if he wins this fight.
He can, but this is his first fight that hasn't been like a money fight in a while. So is he going to be as motivated? Yeah. Well, I mean, Pettis, I guess wasn't, but
he is, because he got to choose the opponent. You know, I mean, obviously he's seen something. You know, he could choose anybody he wants, and he chose Leon. So,
are you sure he chose Leon?
I haven't
Nate
spoke
doesn't
to him,
typically
but
take fights he doesn't want. You know.
yeah, exactly.
No, I'm saying,
he holds out for a fight he wants, so I assumed he wanted it.
I'm saying UFC could have said like, Nate, you haven't fought in a while. We're gonna pull you from the rankings or whatever. So you're gonna fight Leon, and you know, that's that. I'm just saying.
I don't think that's how a negotiation with the Diaz bros goes.
You never know. You never know. But
I think they say, tell us how we can get you back in the octagon, and we'll give you what you want.
Mhm.
And he says, I want a 5-round fight that's non-title. You know, put me anywhere on the card. It's gonna be 5 rounds.
Mhm. That's true.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
And I don't want to side segue too much, but I saw something today that Dana White said that Nick Diaz will be fighting in 2021.
I've seen that.
The most exciting thing in all of MMA.
He said that like 5 times in the past like
This is
6
also
months.
true.
So yeah,
This is also true, but
we're just waiting on more news. Always.
Let's get him in there.
Nick Diaz army coming back stronger.
Nick
than
Diaz, Robbie Lawler, get it done.
Oh man,
another
what a
fight
that'll be.
Get it done.
guaranteed to entertain.
Yep.
So
Or Nick Masvidal. I'm in for either of
Oh,
those.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
that would be a barn burner to say the least. So, well, with all these big fights coming up, Russ, why don't you tell the people how they can make some money this weekend?
Okay, there's not a ton of confidence coming into these best bets. There's some tough fights to pick. Yeah, so not a ton of confidence, but you know, I'm taking Nate Diaz plus 400 odds.
400, how do you not?
Those are crazy. I honestly think like it's closer to a pick 'em to me. Like I think Nate's that good, and it being 5 rounds only helps him.
Maybe plus 200.
I mean, yeah, I would take it at plus 200. I'm taking Nate no matter what the odds, because
yeah.
I'm always going to bet on the Diaz bros. And then I'm doing a parlay with Bilal Muhammad against Maya. I just think Bilal's a better fighter. And I'm parlaying that with Figueiredo. And that puts it at a plus 105, because they're both like minus 230. So like you can't really make money that way. So just parlay them together. And that's plus 105. And then I'm taking Drew Dober against Brad Riddell. And Drew Dober's minus 140. I just think he's a better fighter. He's finishing everybody until he ran into Makhachev, which
That's right.
Nobody's winning that fight really.
But Rydell does train with Izzy at City Kickboxing. That's a good camp.
I know.
That's a good camp.
So, yeah,
that's a good fight. Good fight.
That is a very good fight, but I like Dober in it. Dober is a destroyer. So
yep. So you got those
minus
ones,
140.
Huh?
Yep. That's the parlay of Muhammad, Figgy, Nate Diaz plus 400, and Drew Dober.
Nice.
That's the 3 bets of the weekend. Not a ton of confidence in anything, but it'll be fun action for sure.
Yeah.
They're just tough fights to pick.
They are, man.
Yeah.
They are.
And I'm staying away entirely from the Izzy Vittori fight just because I just don't know.
That's a tough line, because last I looked, he was like, what, minus 230?
Yeah. Yeah. So you almost want to go the other way, but I can't bring myself to bet against Izzy, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, that might be, if you're not a big Izzy fan, that might be a good pick, because you get some pretty good odds on Vittori.
For sure. If you want to try to make some money, I mean,
Phil, I feel like you just told us you bet on Vittori.
I didn't, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
I plan on it. Like I told you, I picked him to win. So and if
that's right. Yeah.
You if you're picking someone to win and they're plus 200 or better, why wouldn't you bet on them?
Of course. Yeah.
Those are.
I'm
but
rooting
again, it's
so
what
hard
I don't,
against that, that I just
it's
won't
what I
stay
don't.
away.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it, because, like I said, Izzy beats everybody, so I don't feel great about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
So
of course.
I felt great about it when I bet on Costa against Izzy, and you saw that worked out. So
yeah, what a fight, man! What a fight!
Not for me. It wasn't. I enjoyed it about as much as Costa did.
Hey, honestly, I had him to win too, so I look like a fool too. Just I didn't lose money. So
speaking of Costa, didn't he just like pull out of a fight because he wants more money?
Allegedly, that fight was never signed. It depends who you believe. Costa said that they came out and said he was going to fight Cannonier, and Costa came out and was like, I didn't agree to that fight because they're paying me nothing. And then Dana came out and said, like, motherfucker, you have a contract. We've covered this so many times. You know, like you fight what you signed. You get the money you signed up to fight for. If you don't,
I don't understand the point of a contract if like you can just opt out. Like I see it happen in like other sports too, where like football players and stuff hold out, like even though they have a contract. I don't understand.
It's weird.
Yeah.
What's the point of a contract then? Isn't that the whole point?
It's really weird because it all depends who negotiated. It's funny because MMA contracts that I was listening to like a wrestling thing and they were talking about that where like, so if you sign a contract in wrestling, it could be like a 5-year contract. But you use WWE's, for example, every one of their contracts, every 90 days, WWE has the right to let you go and just stop paying you. But you cannot opt to leave at any time. And then they can even do things where it's like, if you get hurt, they can tack more time onto your contract. Like if you miss like 9 months, they can tack that onto the end of your contract, you know, but they have the right to let you go every 90 days. They can review your contract and just send you home and be like, you're done here and you don't make any more money. But you don't have that in your contract where you can just like go home. You know,
that's tough.
That's not, but again, that's why, you know, like, cause wrestlers don't have agents. That's why, you know, a bunch of, you know, professional athletes have those agents because, you know, they go in and they get those things written into those contracts. And again, the power is kind of swung almost the opposite way. Where back in the day, it seems like the players had to do what they were told. And now, like, look at the NBA, the players pretty much call the shots. They're like,
yeah, that's why the 4 major sports have unions.
Yeah.
You know, like wrestlers and fighters don't have unions. Unions are what keep crazy crap from that from happening.
Yeah. And you get it to where, like, you know, it's like, we want to play here, we want to make this much money, and we want these guys to come play here. And if not, we'll go to the team that's willing to give us that. And someone is willing to give them that. So
yeah, the fighters are fighting for more power in the UFC, huh?
Right. Yeah. And it's becoming really interesting because I'm sure you guys saw that, like, the reports are that for that farce of a Mayweather Logan Paul fight, that Logan Paul made $20 million. You know, so like Francis Ngannou came out and said, like, that dude made $20 million. What am I doing wrong? Like, I don't make $20 million.
I mean, they're brilliant at marketing and promoting. I don't know how they've you know, figured out the system so well, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing because the pay scale certainly does not necessarily reflect the level of skill required in a lot of things. So it's a very interesting world we live in.
Did you guys see that Jake Paul like dubbed voiceover video of did you see that? Where he's like yelling during the fight and someone dubbed over and it sounds like such a puss. It's so funny sounding.
30 seconds. Let's fucking go. 30 seconds. 30 seconds for the rest of your fucking life. Going in. Uppercut. Yeah. 30 seconds for the rest of your life. 1 second. Logan, cut your fucking career. Cut your fucking career. 51. 51. Fuck all of you. Fuck Larry Poach's bitch. Fuck Mayweather. Cut your fucking career. Cut your fucking career. Cut your fucking career.
Yeah, I try to avoid any news that has to do with either one of those dudes. Like, I don't even have anything against those guys. I'm just like so over it. It's like they've just dominated the friggin' media, the MMA and boxing media so much lately. I don't care to hear any more about them. Like,
same.
Hey, good on them for collecting those paydays, but like, I just don't need to hear about it or see it.
I agree.
It's wild because, you know, they're making that much money, but like when the event's over, you don't hear anybody raving about it. Everybody's like, oh, that was a waste of money. Like every time. And it's like universal. It's like the only people winning are the Paul brothers and like Mayweather or like Askren, but it's like every fan is losing in this situation. I don't understand how.
And we'll fall for it time and time again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, the people that are paying for it.
Yeah.
So
even the people that are watching it. I mean, why would we even watch it? I don't know.
I mean, there's obviously a market for it because they're generating interest and more people are watching that. You know, they're not necessarily fight fans, but more people watch that than watch almost any UFC event.
Sickening. That's what's crazy. Like more people are watching that fight than Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders. Like,
right.
Legit boxers.
Legit great boxing fight.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You know, they got like Jarrett Hurd and you had Jarrett Hurd and who else was on there? You had good boxers on the undercard of that.
Mhm.
You know,
Badu Jack.
Badu Jack. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
other one that was on the
Mhm.
undercard. Crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts.
It's people love a spectacle, man. Like you can do, you get people in there and it just, you generate some interest. And I'm sure that like the Paul brothers have like some level of shelf life. So, they're going to capitalize while it's good and then they'll go away. But then someone else will get on the bandwagon and we'll be paying to watch Tanya Harding box somebody again. So,
Oh, I guarantee it. I guarantee you in a few years, there's going to be like a celebrity boxing, promotion. I mean, Triller's basically it, you know what I'm saying? But like freaking like Vanilla Ice versus who is it you said like Bob Sapp or something, Phil? Like,
yeah. I didn't see that.
yeah.
I'll pay to see Sapp anywhere.
Yeah, you're the only one.
They're definitely tapping into some market. I don't know who these, because again, like to Russ's point, it's kind of like that same concept as like, I equate it to like Nickelback. Like no one likes them and everyone makes fun of them, but they sell millions of albums. Like who's buying those records? Like where are those people?
Closet fans.
They're the same people that are like, maybe they're out there talking bad about that fight because it's the fashionable thing to do. And then they're spending however much the pay-per-view was at home and watching it. So
Yeah.
It's
a weird world.
Certainly generating a lot of buzz. So, and people are into it. And now they're bringing more because Woodley is going to fight that Jake Paul next. So it looks like.
Yep.
So,
That fight is happening.
The fight world is a weird world, man. It's a weird, very strange.
hey man, I don't blame anybody. If people would pay to see me, pay me millions of dollars to see me fight, I'd go fight somebody.
Oh, hell yeah. I'd fight anybody.
For sure.
I mean, not of course, to a limit.
There isn't much I wouldn't do for millions of dollars. So,
I mean, if you looked at like that fight and either of them got paid like $500, you'd be like, oh, that was a more than fair payday for like what they did. They did nothing. So like to make millions.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then Floyd posts a picture of all the money laid out on a table. I hate that guy. I hate that guy so much, dude. He's got like 50 million laid out on a table. Like such a prickhead. Yeah, good job. Good.
To his credit, and I don't know why, but I spent a lot of time thinking about Floyd Mayweather over the last week just because his name has been in the thing. And I have to be fair, me and Russ were on the hating Floyd bandwagon long before most people.
Yeah.
So, but this dude, like he at least embraced being a villain and has made himself a virtual fortune off being a hateable individual.
Yes, he's extremely hateable.
Yeah, he's extreme. It comes extremely natural to him. I believe that it's not much of a gimmick. He's just ramping it up. But yeah, I believe he's just a bad person in real life, and he's just jamming it in everyone's face that he's a bad person because, but
man, karma's gonna get that guy, man.
You hope so, man.
I mean,
You hope so, man. He's a dislikable human. So, but anything else, it's been a couple weeks, guys. Any other fight news or anything else you guys wanted to cover before we wrap up and get on out of here? Ben, you look real excited to talk about something.
Yes, my boy Overeem, he's going to Glory. Signed a multi-fight deal or multi-year deal with Glory Kickboxing. We're going to see Ubereem again. He's going to be on the
horse. For those of you that don't know what Glory is, it's a kickboxing federation.
Yeah.
So.
We're going to see the horse meet Ubereem again, and he's going to wreck some lives.
Reem's going to get on the supplements, and he's going to be killing dudes like he was, in the Ryzen days, which I'm very excited about.
That version of Overeem 2008 to like 2011, that was like the peak human. Like, like
I don't know that
aesthetically.
Yeah, I don't know that human is the correct word.
Yeah.
He was reaching like Kevin Randleman levels of like, you're like, this dude he almost looks like transformed. Like,
Yeah, injecting baby fetuses on a nightly basis.
With modern science, he can get back there. I'm convinced of this.
100% he could.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
He'll be a walking stem cell.
I saw that DDP and his wife are going to get the stem cell treatments now. So.
Oh, are they really?
DDP might be back in the ring hitting diamond cutters pretty soon.
I believe it. I support it. I like anything DDP does. It's a great human.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
He is the ultimate good dude. So. No two ways about it. Anything else you guys want to cover before we get on out of here?
That's it, man.
Yeah.
It was nice to be back. Yep.
Yeah, we got a big pay-per-view this one, and then the July pay-per-view is huge, as we all know, the trilogy.
Yes. Yep, anybody watching, subscribe and tell your friends about us. We need some subscribers, man. Come on.
Yeah, we're closing out on 1 million subscribers pretty soon. So
Yeah.
a small push to get us there. So
Yeah, we're just gonna take some of Ariel's subscribers and get them over here.
there we go. There we go. Well, appreciate everybody. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll be back soon to recap these and talk about the big July event. So until then, we'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching. See ya.